A pleasant good afternoon from Morovia and welcome to King's News Broom. 45 minutes of news about Liberia and the rest of our one world. Top stories we are following this afternoon. House of Representatives are pushed for former President George Weah's appearance to address a plenary on key national issues. The House's leadership bestow upon former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf a special legislative citation of distinguished honor. National Import Incident Management System announces 2,190 suspected recorded cases with 8 deaths since outbreak of mpox in 2024. Finda Smith, chairperson of the National Import Incident Management System, says there are 17 active cases currently. And also coming up in the news, Liberia National Police forced to court 54-year-old Mohammed Sharif for alleged operating unregistered security organization, National Fuller Community Security Services. And away from Liberia now, more than 200 people, including 70 children, have been killed after a landslide caused a collapse in a mountain area in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the government says. And elsewhere, Iraq's military has said it has targeted the headquarters of Iran's Kurdish forces in northern Iraq, stepping up strike on Kurdish region in the both country. The details of these developments, the news bulletin, and the voices of the newsmakers are all packaged. We are taking a very short break. To be right back. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Up next is the Bulletin of News with Shemondale.
Members of the House of Representatives have unanimously agreed to invite former President George Weah to address plenary on key national issues. Former President Weah's invitation, if extended, will follow the appearance of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf before that August body, something political pundits have described as unprecedented. Speaking to reporters, Thursday, Monserrado County District 9 Representative Frank Safoko confirmed that former President Weah will be invited by the House of Representatives but signed a caveat to the leadership of the House of Representatives to accord Weah same opportunities accorded Ellen. Foucault noted that the appearance of the former president is necessary, ensuring that a balanced and open government or governance system. In a related development, plenary of the House of Representatives through House Speaker Rachel Cohn have conferred a special legislative citation of distinguished honor on former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for what they call symbolic level of national duty and work done over the years for Liberians. The special honor was conferred on Thursday following the former president's appearance before members of the House. Former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was recently extended an invitation by the leadership of the House of Representatives to serve as guest lecturer during its Thursday March 5 section. Presenting the honor, House Speaker Rachel Cohn expressed appreciation and admiration of the former president's years of national service and assured her the legislature's readiness to address key instruments for the advancement of the country. At the same time, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf says despite appreciating circumstances, she did extremely well during her 12 years at the Liberian presidency. She noted that she served the country with dedication and honesty, adding that she owed no one apology for anything. The former president, who spoke before members of the House of Representatives Thursday, also made several recommendations to the lawmakers, including amending Chapter 4 Article 27b of the Liberian Constitution. Madame Salif also expressed concern about the liberalization policy, noting that there has been several policies and actions of the past that restricted certain areas of business to Liberians, but such policies had been disrespected. She further noted that it is observed that certain non-citizen groups have taken over critical areas of site on beaches and waterways to enable them extract valuable minerals, thereby causing serious environmental damage. Liberia has recorded a total of 1,634 confirmed cases, with 14 currently active in several parts of the country since mpox outbreak in 2024. The National Mpox Incident Management System chairperson Finda Smith on Thursday disclosed that 2,190 suspected cases were reported, with 8 deaths so far. She made a disclosure during the launch of the World Full Program Emergency Assistance for Mpox affected households held at the Ministry of Health in Painesville. Also speaking, Country Director of the World Food Program, Abisi Kamalai Amewan, emphasized the importance of ensuring that no household face hunger while following isolation measures. Amewan indicated that the WFP will collaborate with the Ministry of Health to provide 3 months of food assistance beginning this March, targeting over 2,000 households in need. The launch of the feeding program for mpox suspected cases was attended by several partner organizations, including the Africa Centers for Disease Control, the United Nations Children Fund, the Medicine Sans Frontier, and the Armed Forces of Liberia, among many others. The Liberia National Police has forwarded to the Morovia City Code 54-year-old Mohammed Sharif. Sharif, who is awaiting judicial action, was formally charged with paramilitary authorities for allegedly operating an unregistered community security organization in violation of Liberian law. According to the police, Sharif, who is a resident of Logan Town, was charged under Chapter 11, Section 11.5 of the Penal Law of Liberia. His charge following investigation launched after a February 13 of this year, where several individuals were reportedly seen wearing mixed-color military-style security uniforms under the banner of the Fuller National Community Security Service. The police said during the investigation, it determined that the National Fuller Community Security Service was not registered as a private security firm within the Liberian system. President Joseph Boakai has issued an executive order 160 constituting a technical committee. The committee is expected to enforce and implement a presidential decision on the long-standing land dispute in Nimba County, particularly in Ganta. According to Executive Marshal Liberia, the executive order establishes a neutral and professional mechanism aimed at ensuring the peaceful, lawful, and coordinated implementation of the government's decision regarding the dispute, which has persisted for decades and continues to pose challenges to peace, security, and orderly development in the region. Under the executive order, the committee will be responsible for enforcing and technically implementing previous presidential decisions, the findings of the 2010 Nimba County Presidential Committee reports, and relevant rulings of the ECOWAS Community Code of Justice. A release issued Thursday called President Boakai as emphasizing that the establishment of the committee follows extensive consultation with representatives of the disputing parties and other key stakeholders, with the goal of ensuring a transparent and inclusive process that promotes lasting peace and stability in Nimba County. The government of Liberia, in collaboration with the African Development Bank, has launched a new research and analytical exercise aimed at strengthening governance and increasing revenue from the country's mining and natural resource sectors. Speaking at the launch, Deputy Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs, Antonin Myers, disclosed that the initiative, which is being developed by the government and the AFDB, will enhance domestic resources mobilization and assisting with technical expertise in the tax sector. Minister Myers added that the project seeks to maximize revenue from Liberia's mining sector and other strategic national resource areas and will improve governance and reduce revenue leakages within the system. He further claimed the exercise is set to focus on promoting evidence-based policy reforms, ensuring that government regulations, policies, and proposed laws are backed by strong research and data before they are implemented. Liberia Council of Churches former President Bishop Brown has called on the national legislature to take seize of the mass displacement created by government's demolition of homes in Morovia and its environs. The General Overseer of the Apostolic Pentecostal Church International said the legislature intervention is important, something he believes will stop suffering being experienced by ordinary Liberians who have lost their homes and businesses as a result of demolition. Bishop Brown, during a press conference in Broom on Thursday, also challenged President Joseph Boakai to use executive power in curbing the suffering of homeless citizens. He added, there's a need the government be compassionate in enforcing the ruling of the courts when it comes to evicting people, noting that finding means of relocating affected people should be the first concern of the government. And the National Food Assistance Agency has officially launched its 5-year strategic plan aimed at providing food for the needy and ensuring zero hunger in the country. Speaking at the launching ceremony in Monrovia on Thursday, NFAA Director General Boakai Salif said the plan, when implemented, will show that nobody goes to bed hungry. He pointed out that the plan will also ensure that no child go to school on empty stomach. The launching ceremony, which was held in Monrovia, was graced by a cross-section of officials of government, local and international partners. We are Stephen, that's the bulletin of the news.
I'd like to say many thanks to Shemon Dia for the bulletin of news. It's a regular feature on King's News Broom. 45 minutes of major happening across Liberia and the rest of our one world. We're taking a very short break. When we come back, we'll bring you voices of the news makers. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for being there. This first development now, members of the House of Representatives have unanimously agreed to invite the former President George Weah to address plenary on key national issues. Former President George Weah's invitation, if extended, will follow the appearance of former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf before that August body, something political pundits have described as unprecedented. Speaking to reporters Thursday, Monserrate County District 9 Representative Frank Safoko confirmed that former President George Weah will be invited by the House of Representatives but signed a caveat to the leadership of the House of Representatives to accord former President Weah and opportunity accorded former President Sirleaf.
Responsibility of the seat, Mr. Weah will be coming, the former president will be coming to the 55th National Legislature. It is a responsibility of the now Speaker, Bishop Speaker, and Quiet Director Thomas Fowler. It is a responsibility to exhibit the honorable leadership that will give the due respect to President Weah, just as we did today to Madam Sirleaf. Contrary to that, I mean, the speaker knows what the consequences will be.
What it might be? What will it be?
Everything here is legislative. Everything here is legislative.
In a related development, the plenary of the House of Representatives, through the House Speaker Richard Kuhn, have conferred a special legislative citation of distinguished honor on former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf for what they call symbolic level of national duty and work done over the years for Liberia. These special honors were conferred on Thursday following the former president's appearance before members of the House. Meanwhile, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf recently extended an invitation by the House's leadership presenting their honor how Speaker Richard Cohn expressed appreciation and admiration of the former Liberian president of her years of national service and showed how the legislature's readiness to address key instruments for the advancement of the country.
Today, the legislature will confer upon you a special legislative citation of distinguished honor, which we, as lawmakers, have taken it as a symbolic of your level of duty and work you've done for the Liberian people. Madam former President, with all due respect, we actually admire your work. I want to say you thank you to the Liberian people, not forget your goodness in your dedication to Liberia. Madam former President, your presence here today reminds us that leadership is more than just about holding office. It is about leaving behind ideas and institutions that contribute to guide the nation long after one's tenure. To address one of the important questions surrounding Liberia's liberalization policy, the involving discourse on citizenship for people of Negro descent, land rights and acquisition, and the governance framework of our capital city, Monrovia, speaks to some of the key issues confronting our nation today. These are not just legal or administrative matters. They are questions that strike at the very heart of who we are as a people and how we define belonging, opportunity, and national sovereignty. The reflection today reminds us that nations must constantly examine their laws and policy to ensure that they reflect both the aspiration of their citizens and the reality of the changing time. The liberalization policy, historically designed to protect and empower Liberian participation in the economic life of the nation, must continue to evolve in ways that safeguard the nation's interests or national interests while fostering inclusive growth and opportunity.
Also speaking at the House on Thursday, former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf says, despite intense circumstances, she did extremely well during her 12 years at the Liberian presidency. She noted that she served the country with dedication and honesty, adding that she owed no apologies to anybody for anything. The former Liberian leader who spoke before members of the House of Representatives Thursday also made several recommendations to the lawmakers, including amending Chapter 4, Article 27B of the Liberian Constitution.
I know that there will be many who applaud this initiative, and there will be many others who may question it. I also know that some will say, in our usual Liberian way, she said for 12 years, why didn't she do all these things? Let me say in response to that, and in closing, that I did my best under the extenuating circumstances and conditions that we all know so very well. I served my country with dedication and with honesty. I therefore make no apology to anybody for anything. And I make no claims. My record stands by me. and history will be the judge.
Also addressing issues on amending Chapter 4, Article 27B of the Liberian Constitution, the former Liberian president expressed concern about the liberalization policy, noting that there have been several policies and actions of the past and restricted certain areas of business to Liberians, but such policy are being respected today. She further noted that it is observed that certain non-citizen groups have taken over crucial areas of sites on beaches and waterways to enable them to extract valuable minerals, thereby causing serious environmental damages. According to her, no country will allow such thing to happen, adding that Liberia should never allow it.
First comment has to do with Article 27B of our Constitution that says, I quote, in order to preserve, foster, and maintain the positive Liberian culture, values, and character, only persons who are Negroes or of Negro descent shall qualify by birth or by naturalization to be citizens of Liberia. Unquote. Mr. Speaker, Liberia today is above where we were on our independence in 1847. Therefore, we must now make those structural changes that propel us to join emerging African countries that have left us behind. As you may recall, we tried in the past to do constitutional reform. Former interim president, Dr. Amos Sawyer, led the committee that made tremendous progress, but that racist provision was left intact. My plea now is that you consider the necessary amendment to Chapter 4, Article 27B of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, Honorable Legislator, my second comment has to do with land. This issue is causing serious problems in the country.
Former Liberian President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf there speaking. Earlier, you listened to the voice of House Speaker Richard Cohn. The government of Liberia, in collaboration with the African Development Bank, has launched a new research and analytical exercise aimed at strengthening governance and increasing revenue from the country's mining and natural resource sectors. Speaking at the launch ceremony, Deputy Minister, the Finance Minister for Fiscal Affairs, Anthony Myers, disclosed that the initiative, which is same developed by the government and AFDB, will enhance domestic resources, mobilization, and ascertain with technical expertise in the tax sector.
Now we are here today to launch a research and analytical exercise to support that project. And as the title says, evidence-based policy reforms. We in government, especially like the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, we routinely, on a regular basis, issue regulations. We raise bills and send it to the legislature to be enacted into law. We issue policy statements. In order to implement those policies, or to even have the basis for issuing regulations, for undertaking reforms, or introducing legislations, you should be sure that those measures will have the needed impacts. And in order to be sure that policies and laws and reforms will have impact, you have to have evidence. What are the key players in the sector? What are they doing? What are their issues? What are they concerned about? What sort of measure will they be more responsive to? And which one you will face compliance challenges. The methodology for this research was carefully selected based on the issues that we identified. The selection of the research team, we were clear that we either rely on experts from Africa who have done similar research, or if they are external experts, be they Korean or others, they should be people who have experience doing similar work in Africa. And our team leader from the KRPF, we had a short meeting with him this morning when they had an introductory meeting with the minister, and he indicated that he had prior experience in about 10 other African countries, though he's Korean. So he brings about his academic background, the fact that he is an expert academic and practical expert in taxation, but he also has practical research experience in Africa.
Liberia has recorded a total 1,634 confirmed cases, with 14 currently active in several parts of the country since Mpox outbreak in 2024. The National Mpox Incident Management System chairperson, Findad Smith, on Thursday disclosed that 2,190 suspected cases were reported, with 8 deaths so far.
And this audit is as of the 3rd of March 2026. So currently we have recorded since the outbreak in 2024, 1,634 confirmed cases, of which we have just 14 active. Out of 1,191 suspected cases that was reported, we have had 8 deaths. So, of course, from the sequencing results, the Bureau State recorded grade 2A and grade 2B as a sign of the disease strain in the country. So, for the active cases that we have geographically, we just have to point out those countries that are currently being active outbreak. And I also state the districts which those cases are in. So for most of Rhino, we have active cases in Bushel and Central Moroville. And for Nema County, we have Sagri, Man, and Tabitha. For Riverside County, Central C is our district that is currently infected. And then for my Canada, for Great Basel District 4 and District 3A, for County Chocolate District, and for County CG. So we have made significant progress with a total of 1,612 recovery cases. As I said, we have currently 14 active cases.
Also speaking, country director of the World Food Programme, Abisa Kola Amewan, emphasized the importance of ensuring that no household face hunger while following isolation measures.
For too many families, isolation heightens their vulnerability to hunger. Yet, no household should face hunger while complying with isolation measures. Our responsibility is to ensure that families can safely isolate without compromising their dignity, health, or access to food. It is in this context that WFP, the largest humanitarian organization in the world fighting hunger worldwide, is working closely with the Ministry of Health and its technical department, including the National Public Health Institute of Liberia, provide emergency food assistance to Mpox-affected households who are facing challenges to meet their basic food needs. In fact, there are other concurrent outbreaks, namely measles and Lassa fever, and the affected people are also in isolation. There was a question on whether they will be assisted too. And the Director General of the NFIL also mentioned this during our consultation. Let me assure you, they will be assisted as well as part of this initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to acknowledge the good collaboration with Africa CDC together with WHO, especially their role in coordinating the continental response and the financial contribution provided by the MasterCard Foundation.
WFP Country Director Abisa Kola Amiwon there speaking. Earlier, you listened to the chairperson of the National Impulse Incident Management Team, Findat Smith. Well, we have an hour now past the news presentation. There's a reminder following the weekend edition of King's News, 45 minutes of news about Liberia and elsewhere. We're taking a very short break. We'll be right back. Now, welcome back up to this development. Now, the Liberia Council of Churches former president, Bishop Kotu Brown, has called on the national legislature to take seize of the mass displacement created by government's demolition of homes in Monrovia and its environment. The general overseer of the Apostolic Pentecostal Church International said the legislature's intervention is important, something he believed will stop suffering being experienced by ordinary Liberians who have lost their homes and businesses.
Somebody been living somewhere 60 years, and somebody come and say, you got what, monarchy? I think the government needs to see all of this as a serious security issue and address it. I don't think it's in the interest of the country if it's provocation or if it's whatever sinister. I think it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. It's unacceptable. After all these years, you got 180 acres somewhere and by the main road, and you do nothing about it, and people, build their houses, and they're trying to make way for the living. We don't hope for chaos. Like, we really seen enough. We're seeing chaos. We don't need any more chaos. That's why the government needs to be sensitive. The government needs to calculate well. It's not everything that is necessary is expedient. And this person got 500 acres this way, or got 200 acres this way. The government has to be compassionate. The Liberians who voted for Joseph Baga's government expect that this government will be compassionate. Sometimes you temper justice with mercy. And we're not saying people should not respect the law. We're not saying people should disregard the law. But there are instances for where somebody's building a house and lives for 40 years. And somebody just come and they break it down. Somebody may be in breach of the law, but there are other ways that the state can come in and help ordinary Liberians to be able to, the government can engage. We encourage the government to engage. Encourage the government to use all the tools available to it to be able to resolve these issues. We encourage the government to help ensure that we don't have insecurity in our country, that people don't get desperate about all of this, and that this will remain peaceful and secure. We encourage the government of Liberia to do whatever is possible. Some of those people need to be relocated. The government got eminent domain power. They can relocate them. Government can find land somewhere and give other people. Other people who are affected of more wicked, but we got to find a way to show our citizens of compassion. I think it's a bad legacy for President Boakai if he doesn't uphold the rule of law. For someone who's still all his life in government, I think it's on him to ensure that he can uphold the rule of law, for us. So I think that the president will take on that role, commander-in-chief, with all these crises ongoing, all these challenges, to bring some hope, healing to other Liberians who, you know what I mean for you to build a house 50 years, stay somewhere, and you just, and you just break down your house and say, oh, you're not supposed to, yes, true, you're not supposed to build there. But then they build there now. Can we find a way to address that? Yes.
LCC former President Bishop Kotu Brown there speaking. Ahead of our news presentation now is our foreign development, but this development sets the pace. The National Food Assistance Agency has officially launched its 5 year strategic plan aimed at providing food for the needy and ensuring zero hunger in the country. Speaking at the launching ceremony in Monrovia on Thursday, NAFA Director General Boaka Salif said the plan, when implemented, will ensure that nobody goes to bed hungry. He pointed out that the plan will also ensure that no child goes to school on empty stomach.
NFAA has an act now which makes it legal, but it has been around since 1970. And one of the things that in our core value that we are stressing will be integrity and inclusion. Knowing the history and seeing the facts from the World Bank, from WFP, from UNDP, from the Ministry of Agriculture, we see that our 5.5 million population, we are told that 2/3 of that is in abject poverty. And one of the reasons for NFAA is to help raise people from that level. Our aim is to not let a child go to sleep hungry or go to school without a meal. Because most of us here, again, like I said, know the feeling when a child goes to school and haven't eaten. They don't develop, they don't listen. So NFAA stands in that gap to control and straighten up what should be done. Strategic plan is in alignment with the AAID of the government of Liberia. Agriculture as the backbone of the country, we are there to bring farmers and consumers together to help to change the taste and the eating habit of people. Because when you ask a Liberian person, they tell you, say, I have not eaten all day, it's because they have not eaten rice. But we are here to help to change that. In the little time that we've been in position, we have tried to diversify the food that we donate. And we are here today again, after, while launching this program, is to call on all development partners and individuals to look at the NFAA as that arm where you cannot reach as the last mile, where we will carry the food for you. We want you to thoroughly go through the strategic plan and be critical. Tell us what you think about it, how we can improve, because it's a matter of improving. We'll use the theory of change if we have to.
And FAA Director General Boyka Salif there speaking. And now of the home front, more than 20 people, including 70 children, have been killed after a landslide caused a collapse in a mountain area in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo. The government says the landslide struck Rubaya, the country's biggest source of quota and all vital in the electronic industry in the rather control east on Tuesday following heavy rains. In a statement, the man's ministry blamed the incident on M23 rebelled and said they were following allowing illegal mining without proper safety standard. The M23 are yet to comment about a source in the area to the BBC that the incident was caused by attacks from government forces and only 6 had died. The government has not responded to the claim. And also, that's where Iran's military has said it has targeted the headquarters of Iranians' Kurdish forces in northern Iraq, stepping up strike in Turkish region in both Iraq and Iran. The military said it tagged the Kurdish group opposed to the revolution in Iraqi talking with the missiles. One person was killed and 3 injured in the strike on Tuesday and Wednesday. The BBC has confirmed Tehran is intensifying its attack on Iran. The Turkish group in Iraq made report that U.S. President Donald Trump once then joined the fight against Iraq as U.S. and Israeli strike continue. Kurdish Iranian opposition party in Iraq have denied report that some of their forces have crossed over. Well, this is how we got home on today's edition of the news program. But before we take leave of you, reminder of top stories. We close it for you. House of Representatives pushed for former President George Weah's appearance to address plenary on key national issues as the House of Representative leadership bestowed upon former President Ellen Johnson's special legislative citation of distinguished honor. National Airport Incident Management System announces 2,190 suspected recorded cases of an 8 deaths since the outbreak of mpox in 2024. Finda Smith, the chairperson of the National mpox Incident Management System, says there are 17 active cases currently. Liberia National Police forwards to court 54-year-old Mohammed Sharif for alleged operating unregistered security organization, National Fuller Community Security Services. And away from Liberia, more than 200 people, including 70 children, have been killed after a landslide caused a collapse in the mountain area in the east of the Democratic Republic of Congo, the government says. Iran's military has said it has targeted the headquarters of Iranian Kurdish forces in northern Iraq, stepping a strike on Kurdish region in both Iraq and Iran. Well, on this note, we'd like to say many thanks to our news writers, editors, reporters for making today's news presentation all saucy. Shimon Dia was here with the news bulletin. Sam Andrew sat at control. Lodina and Elliot control the camera. I'm Stephen Compton. Thanks for listening and watching.